Hello, third grade friends. This is our math video for today. Really, we're just kind of reviewing just a few problems, and that way when you meet with your small groups with your teachers, it'll just be a way to just focus on those questions a little bit more. So you're going to notice I'm giving you less questions to do today, and that's okay. In your packet, you should have a sheet that says pre-assessment. Let me see if I can show it to you. And you're going to find it, and you're just going to work on those two questions that we're going to focus on today. So let me just share my screen quickly. Actually, let me work on that one first. And so your pre-assessment should look something like this. It should say Unit 7 pre-assessment. And we're focusing on question 6, and we're actually going to focus on question 8 today. So try to find that right now. You can pause me so that you can go do that. And we're going to get started. So 1 second, I'm going to stop sharing this screen so I can share my other screen, which is where we're going to do the work. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. All right, so this is going to be our do now. So find this question. I believe I said it's question number 6. It says to circle true or false for each statement. I just want you to focus on A. It says 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. And I know it's not asking you to write, but I think it's important as mathematicians that we explain our thinking. So I want you to, on the side, on a Post-it, on a piece of paper, write down A again. And I want you, or if you have space on the paper on your packet, you can do it there as well. But I want you to write a statement whether you agree or disagree that 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. So your statement might start off with, I agree or disagree that 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2 because go. So I want you to pause the video so that you can write your statement. And if you're back, right, that means that you've done that. And go do it. Dum, 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 dum. I'm waiting, and you're back. Okay, so you might have said, I agree that 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2 because 3 is half of 6 and 1 is half of 2. So if I said, if we had 2 pizzas and Miss Maldonado cut her pizza in halves and then Miss Alonso cut hers in 6, and she had 3 parts out of the 6 total pieces, and I had 1 part out of my whole, right? It would mean that we ate the same amount of pizza. So 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. So I'm going to grab a pen, and I'm going to underline true or circle it. Circle it. Okay, the next one, let's try it. And maybe for this one, right, because this one was the first one was a little bit easier that we could determine whether or not it was equivalent. But maybe for the second one, we're going to have to take out our bar model or use a bar model to represent. So it says 1/4 is equivalent to 3/8. Okay, so here we have different denominators and different numerators as well. And could I say 1 is half of 4? No. And is 3 half of 8? No. So we're going to have to maybe take out a bar model just to make sure that these fractions are not equivalent to one another. And so what I'm going to do, and you're going to do it with me, is that we're going to draw, not a circle. Hold on, let me get a better one. Rectangle. So let's draw a big bar model, and then I'm going to take a line and just split it. I like to do my bar model side by side or one on top of the other so I can really see the relationship between both of the fractions. Okay, first the fraction on top, I'm going to represent 1/4. So let me write that so I don't forget. Okay, and then the one on the bottom, I'm going to do 3/8. It doesn't have to look perfect. Okay, for 1/4, I'm looking at the denominator. The denominator tells me how I'm partitioning the whole. So I'm going to grab a line And 4 is an even number, which means I can split this right down the middle, so I can make this as, focus on equal parts as much as possible. Okay, so, and now I have halves, but I have to have that as well, right? I have to split this up as well so I can make fourths, and I'm trying my best to make sure I have equal parts. Sometimes that's hard, friends, but I'm trying. Okay, all right, we'll shade that in a moment. So now the bottom one, I have 3/8. I'm looking at the denominator. I know that I have to partition my whole into 8s. 8 number. So I am also going to split right down the middle. Trying my best to do it. I'm gonna try that again because that one, trying to make it the same. That's about right. Okay. And I can also use these lines to partition, but I want to make sure it's as equal as possible. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, and now this is fourths, but now I'm gonna have to split these up, right, to make 8s. So I'm gonna try to make these as equal as possible, like I always say. And you see how this is becoming slowly but surely, it's becoming 8s. That last one is a little off, so I'm gonna try to do that again. That's about right. It's always hard to do this, friends, even like especially on the computer and even when you're writing it out, but here we go. So 1/4, I know the numerator tells me how many parts I'm gonna shade. So I'm gonna grab a highlighter and shade in 1/4. And let's do blue this time. And I gotta make it a little bit smaller. So 1/4. This is 1/4 shaded. And now I'm gonna do 3/8. Okay, I'm gonna pick a different color. Same idea, 3/8. I know I have to shade 3 parts out of the 8. And you're probably already thinking, Ms. Maldonado, it is obvious here that 3/8 is larger than 1/4 because you already know this is gonna be 3 parts. But let's just do it so you guys can even see it better. So that's 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts. Trying to make this as neat as possible. Okay, so we can see that 1/4 is less than 3/8, or 3/8 is larger than 1/4. So when it says 1/4 is equal to 3/8, we definitely know that that is true or false. Yep, if you said false, you're correct. This is definitely a false statement. All right, let's look at the third one. It says 1 whole is equivalent to 8/8. Well, we've been talking about this a lot because this was a claim that we came to in our class. In all 3 classes, I believe. We said that when the numerator and the denominator are the same, it is equivalent to 1 whole. So are we gonna write true or false? I can almost hear it from your homes. Yep, that's right. This statement is going to be true. All right, friends, we're gonna do one more question for today in our video. And let's do it. So James and Max each got the same size licorice rope. James ate 2/4 of his and Max ate 4/8 of his. Shade in and label each rectangle to show how much of the licorice rope each boy ate. Well, it says James ate, let's look, 2/4. So I know this fraction is going to be represented as 2/4. And then for Max, it says that he ate 4/8 of his. So the first thing is that we're going to draw this out. And obviously these are bar models. It's just that they're not on top of each other like I typically do, but it's still a bar model. So I'm gonna grab a line. I'm looking at 2/4. I know 4 is an even number, so I'm going to start by just trying to split it right down the middle. That looks like halves. And then I'm going to partition this again. I'm going to halve that. And again, I'm trying my best to make sure these parts are equal as possible. That looks pretty equal. And he ate 2/4. So what am I going to do? I'm going to grab my highlighter again. Let's do green. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And he ate 2/4. I'm going to do that one a little bit better. Okay, so this is going to represent 2/4. I'm just trying to fill it in as much as possible. Okay, so that's 2/4 of the licorice rope. Max ate 4/8, and I'm looking at the denominator, which means that's how I'm going to partition licorice rope. And 8 is an even number, which means I'm going to do the same. I'm going to start by partitioning it right down the middle in halves. I'm also going to use these lines. And then I'm going to have to go in and split those up like we did earlier. Trying to make it as even as possible, or as equal as possible. That looks about right. And then I'm going to split these up down the middle as well, so I can have 8s. That one's a little off. Okay, I could do better, but I'm trying my best to do equal parts right now. And I know I have to shade in 4 parts out of the 8, so I'm going to grab another highlighter again. And I'm shading highlighter. Let's do yellow. And 4 parts, okay. Those are 4 parts out of the 8. And what are we seeing? 2/4 and 4/8 are equivalent, right? It doesn't matter how they both partition them. We know that 2 is half of 4 and 4 is half of 8. So now we're going to look at question B. It says, which of these is true about the boys and their licorice ropes? Fill in the bubble to show. James ate more than Max. Is that true? No, right? We see that they ate the same amount. James and Max ate the same amount. And did Max ate more than James? We definitely saw that the second one is right, that they both ate the same amount. So my friends, for your homework, or what your work that we want you to do today, is I want you, with the pre-assessment, to go back to do question number 7 today, and I want you to try to do question number 9. So question 7 and question 9 from your pre-assessment. And tomorrow we'll go over those, or if not tomorrow, then the day after that, we'll go over question 7 and question 9 with you guys. Please make sure that you're working on it, because we will ask you to send us a picture of it probably by the end of the week, to give you just some time to work on it. See you guys in the next video. Hold on a second. Let me stop share and stop the video. See you guys.